Excellencies, distinguished guests, honored delegates, good morning, and please take your seats as we are starting now the third and last day of the ISDB Group Private Sector Forum. We had very fruitful discussions yesterday regarding resilience and sustainability, trade inclusivity, climate action, and emerging fintech solutions, and much more. As the last day for the event, we are going to cover topics on halal industry, sustainable investing, and 5 country presentations. We definitely have translations in Arabic, English, and French, and the headsets can be picked up just outside the conference room. Without further ado, we would like to move to the first session of the day, and this will be focusing on rejuvenating halal industry, creating economic opportunities. Please allow me to invite Dr. Mohammed Jamil Yusha to start moderating this session.
Thank you very much, Sister Reham, for the help, and everybody. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, I would like to say a very warm welcome to each and every one of you for this great event. We are quite excited today because this is the first time we are holding a side event dedicated to the halal industry in the 47-year history of the Islamic Development Bank. We have had many events, but this is the first major side event on the sidelines of the Private Sector Forum. We are also glad that we have distinguished personalities here who have an in-depth and a niche understanding of this industry and the potentials that it has. And therefore, we urge you to please take advantage of this great discussion so that you know it will benefit us without wasting much time. Our first speaker for today is our Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mansour Mukhtar. Dr. Mansour Mukhtar is currently the Vice President Operations here at the Islamic Development Bank that is organizing this annual meeting. He was formerly the Minister of Finance of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, one-time Executive Director at the World Bank headquarters, one-time Executive Director at the African Development Bank, and former co-chair on the Sustainable Development Financing, which led to the development of the Sustainable Development Goals. May I have the honor to invite His Excellency the Vice President to deliver the welcome remarks, please.
Thank you, Jamil. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. I'm extremely delighted to welcome you to this great side event on rejuvenating halal industry and creating economic opportunities. We are living in challenging times due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Unemployment and global inflation are skyrocketing by the day. Existing vulnerabilities are being exacerbated by recent events, specifically the conflict, Russian-Ukraine conflict, as well as climate change and other related disasters. Challenges of food security, climate change and fragility require a concerted effort by relevant stakeholders. In unusual times like this, we need to join forces in order to find sustainable solutions to these challenges. We must explore new opportunities that could help our member countries to revive their economies and build the necessary foundation for economic development. The halal economy is one of the non-traditional means of creating economic opportunities. Several factors are contributing to the rise in demand for halal services. Among these are, first and foremost, the rise in Muslim population, estimated to reach 2.2 billion by 2030, or 30% of the global population, according to Thomson Reuters and Global Economic Survey report. Second is the demand for ethical, safe, and healthy products that enhance the quality of life. And third is the search for complementary and non-traditional means of achieving sustainable development. Fourth, innovation and technological breakthroughs that make it possible to produce efficient systems for promoting halal activities in tourism, pharmaceuticals, foods, and beverages. Fifth is the increase in human capital, with more professionals being trained to join the industry and upscale the capacity of existing players in the halal economy. Finally, globalization has made it possible to live in a world that is interdependent. This has brought several cultures, faiths, and nationalities to understand commonalities, with the ethical nature of the halal economy breeding more interest in the growth of the halal industry. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the halal economy is estimated to grow to 3.2 trillion US dollars by 2024. It is an industry that is quite diverse, with products ranging from foods and beverages, pharmaceuticals, tourism, cosmetics, media, among others. One of the uniqueness of Islamic Development Bank is its ability to tap into non-traditional means of financing to solve development challenges. The bank has gone a long way in utilizing Islamic finance to support several development projects across the globe. I'm pleased to inform you that the bank is studying the potential of the halal economy with a view to exploring existing opportunities, discovering untapped potentials, building capacity, and creating awareness globally. That is why I'm extremely delighted with the effort of the Islamic Development Bank's Center of Excellence in Kuala Lumpur for taking the initiative to work with Halal Development Cooperation in Malaysia to conduct a comprehensive study on the halal ecosystem. This is commendable, and I look forward to the outcome of the final study. Thank you, Mohammed Abida, for leading this along with our counterparts in Malaysia. As the renowned economist Theodore Levitt stated, creativity is thinking up new things, and innovation is doing new things. I strongly urge all stakeholders working within the halal economy to be creative and innovative and come up with products that will satisfy the needs of customers in our member countries and beyond. I understand that the halal ecosystem study is looking at the ecosystem of 22 countries with a view to understanding the strengths, weaknesses, and the gaps that need to be bridged within the halal ecosystem. In addition to this effort, I would like to propose that the following suggestions be considered in the effort to support the development of halal ecosystem. Creating an enabling environment that will help the halal industry to flourish. Establishing necessary legal frameworks would be needed so that interested parties, including investors, could be assured of the necessary support to invest in the industry. Secondly, we need to pay attention to small and medium enterprises, especially in a post-COVID-19 climate. Job creation should be at the heart of the halal industry. And third, we have to support new players in the industry on how to develop relevant policies that will support the flourishing of the halal economy. Fourthly, I see a great role for incorporating the opportunities offered by the halal economy in national development plans. And fifthly, development standards to ensure quality of all products should be a priority. Number 6, developing a comprehensive awareness campaign on the opportunities created by the halal industry and clearing unnecessary misconceptions should receive our attention. And finally, we should embrace the opportunities offered by new technologies such as artificial intelligence and blockchain to strengthen the confidence in halal products and promote intra-trade through better tracing of halal manufacturing processes and mutual recognition of halal certificates. Distinguished participants, we are living in challenging times, yet those who embraced the relevant lessons in difficult times laid the ground for the initiatives that transformed our world. We have an opportunity to be shapers of history. The halal industry may be familiar to us in this audience. There are millions of people searching for opportunities elsewhere who may be oblivious to what is mundane to us, and we need to recognize and appreciate this. The outcome of our discussion this morning could be a game changer that would open windows of opportunity, change lives, and create economic prosperity for others. I'm confident that the diversity of speakers in this side event will do justice to this topic. I wish you successful panel discussions. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for this wonderful speech. So many points to take when we start the panel discussion in terms of the directions that have been provided on the halal industry. We are organizing this event from the Global Practice and Partnerships of the Islamic Development Bank here in Sharm el-Sheikh. And as a practice that focuses on partnership is key and important to us. And one of our great partners is the Halal Development Corporation in Malaysia, which has been helping a lot, especially in conducting the ecosystem study. It's my honor and pleasure to invite Mr. Haji Sufyan Alias, who is the Chief Industry Officer of the Halal Development Corporation, to come forward. He has been working with this industry and is a major industry player, and I do have the pleasure and honor to invite him to the stage, please, to give us the keynote speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. His Excellency Dr. Mansur Mukhtar, Vice President Operations of ISDB, Mr. Amir Bukvik, Acting General Global Practice and Partnerships of IDB, my fellow panelists, and of course, just now, Brother Jamil, Mr. Moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, I am very honored today to be invited together with a list of specialists from different fields in halal to be here today to discuss about the potential of halal industry and how can we rejuvenate it to create economic opportunities. First of all, I think I would like to thank ISDB again for organizing these sessions, because this is a very important sessions. And this is very timely, considering the fact that now we are moving towards an endemic stage of the COVID-19. So we have opened up our borders, and we have to spearhead our initiatives to make sure that halal provides the value propositions that we intended for our businesses. The new normal that we've been living for the past 2 years now requires a more practical, a more sustainable approaches, so that the opportunities in halal industries can be implemented in a more effective and efficient way. These, I believe, are the reasons we are here today with all the panelists to share experience, whether it's bad or good, and to discuss how do we overcome some of these challenges and also propose solutions and ideas on how do we rejuvenate the halal industry for a greater impact. Brothers and sisters, as His Excellency Dr. Mansur mentioned just now, the halal industry definitely offers a huge opportunities for all of us. The reports by the State of the Global Islamic Economy, or SEIE reports by the Dinar Standards last year announced that 1.9 billion of Muslims spend almost $2 trillion on halal products and services. In 3 years' time, the spending is expected to reach $2.8 trillion with a cumulated annual growth rate of 7.5%. The report also states that the Muslim spending in all key halal sectors, except for travel sectors, are back to pre-pandemic level by the end of last year. And this year it is forecasted a 9.1% growth in Muslim spending. So in many conferences, in many sessions that we had, we always speak about the huge potentials of our industries. But today in these sessions, I would like to call upon for us to look at a more important facts and how do we actually supply this, or support or complement these highly demanded industries. We know that the key driver for the demand side of halal industry are based on the Muslim populations, 1.9 billion. But do we ask our questions on how much do we support the industries? How much are we gaining the benefits of these industries? Are we doing good or are we doing best? So I propose that today, based on different perspectives that we have in terms of consumerism, in terms of the public sectors, practices, in terms of the industry or supporting agencies, including those from the enabler sections, the financial services, the technology adoptions, and the talent developments that we can support the halal industry to go into a greater heights. Brothers and sisters, I basically work for a government agency in Malaysia, and I do deal with a lot of public and private sectors for the halal industries. And one of our important role is to do analysis, analyze, and advise the government on what needs to be done to ensure that the halal industry move positively into the future. One of the most important factors that we look into are how do we develop or make sure there is a conducive business environment for our industry players. So when we do this, we have to look into two factors. The most important part, of course, I think for all of us, the importance of having a conducive business environment is to protect the integrity of halal products and services, to ensure that the Muslim or the Islamic values on these industries are well protected and delivered to our Muslim consumers. The second part is on the social economic impacts, because whatever that we do, we need to make sure that we are having a sustainable approach so that we can also allow other people to enjoy and participate into these hugely potential industries. So Malaysia have more than 50 years of experience in doing halal industries. But regardless of 50 years, 100 years, or 1,000 years, what is the most important thing from this experience is that the lesson learned that we have, because we need to share with others on how do we manage our challenges, what are the failures that we have, and what are the successes that we have, so that we can grow more faster as a group and not just any individual entities or economies. So just sharing some of the challenges that we have in developing the halal industries, it started with a very simple act of creating awareness to the public and also to the private sectors. Because without having a proper awareness or basic understanding about halal, people might tend to interpret this halal industry in a different manner. So we are seeing that a lot of participants, a lot of governments, a lot of industries, even NGOs are talking about halal today. And we know that they have different perspectives, different opinions about how do we move forward. So today I believe that some of the discussion today also will look into some of these areas. And what I think is that the most important part is that it's not about who is right or who is wrong. This is more about how do we learn from each other and how do we make sure that we can grow forward learning from others, people's experience or in terms of successes and also failures, so that we can help to do these activities in a much effective way. Ladies and gentlemen, from my observations, from my experience, most of the challenges or issues that we face when we speak about supplying halal products and services to the global markets are related to perceptions. So these are a very dangerous situation, because if we keep discussing about perceptions, about our own views without having a proper or a benchmark way of evaluating certain items, we might end up going against each other, trying to justify or trying to say that what we understand is right and the other people is wrong. So from our experience, the next 25% is of course is a very relevant issues that we need to address, but the 75% need a proper way of methodology to handle this. So that is why in 2021, in August, as mentioned by His Excellency just now, HDC together with ISDB, Kuala Lumpur Center of Excellence, enter into agreements to initiate what we call as the Halal Ecosystem Global Assessments. So these assessments aims to look at different practices across the globe, or to be definite about more than 40 countries, the ecosystem or the practices that are being implemented, to learn from each other what are the gaps to be addressed and what are the common factors for us to improve, so that others can learn to do this in a more effective way. We see that there's a future for a more proper and collaborative approach for these industries, because we need an organization such as ISDP to champion this initiative, so that all of us can work together under one strong umbrella. And with that, I think the role of ISDP can also integrate with some of other critical areas, such as the Islamic financing, on how do they support the industry players, and of course the adoptions of science, technology and innovations, to make sure that the products and services that are produced or delivered are of high quality and also sustainable in a manner of acceptance by the consumers. Ladies and gentlemen, I think if we manage to do this one, right now the global market that we talk about, the huge market we talk about, we can approach this in a more effective manner, and the segmented fragments of the market can be approached as one entity under the ISDB. So with that, I thank you all of you again today, and I congratulate ISDB for organizing this forum, so that we can have fruitful discussions to discuss more about different views and perceptions from other panelists, and hence look forward for a very much effective way in terms of our collaborative approach in the future. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hani Sufyan Alias, for this presentation, and I do hope that also it will help in setting the context as we move forward. Now we move into the main thing, the real discussion, and it's my honor to now start inviting our guests, starting with the Acting Director General, Global Practice and Partnerships, Mr. Amir Bokovic. Can we give him a warm welcome, please? Next among our speakers is the chairman of the largest Hajj fund in the world, the Indonesia Hajj Fund, Dr. Anggito Abimanyu. Mr. Anil Kovacevic is the CEO of United Bank of Albania, the first and probably the only Islamic bank in the in Albania. Can we please give him a warm welcome? Our panel is highly diversified, and one of our panelists is one of the long-time industry players. He has seen it in Europe, in Spain, and now is a major player in the Middle East, Mr. Thomas Guerrero. We have also crossed over the ocean to make sure that we have enough diversity in the room. Our next speaker, Ms. Yvonne Mafai, came from San Diego, and she is the founder of My Halal Kitchen. She is also a media personality with 1.5 million followers on Facebook. So thank you very much. And with this now we can start the discussion. But please, I would like to seek your indulgence because Mr. Amir Bukovic has to go to the governor's round table. So we are not going to have him for the whole session. And therefore, we will just give him an opportunity to give us a contextual, remark about the whole event, especially with a global survey of the global industry. And afterwards, I will invite Mr. Muhammad Abida, the head of the KL Center for Excellence, to take over his seat, and then we can continue with the discussion. Mr. Amir Bukovic, please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. Thank you, Brother Jamil. It is always a pleasure to be in events in which you are moderating. And as time is passing, you look more like a very good speaker, and maybe even you have a career in Hollywood, actually. I was very impressed with the way he is managing and moderating a lot of events on different subjects. Actually, see a very in-depth moderation by Dr. Jamil. It's our honor. Let's give him one round of applause for what he does to us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the time. And following the statement of the Vice President, Dr. Mansour Mukhtar, and the keynote speech by Mr. Hani Sufyan alias, the halal industry is one of the most growing industries with the potential to create jobs and create emerging entrepreneurs. This is quite important for us at the Islamic Development Bank in order to support our member countries to create and revive their economies. The issue of halal is something very dear to my heart. And in some areas of the world, maybe the importance is bigger, and in some areas, maybe it is not so evident. For example, in Saudi Arabia, halal industry or anything to enter Saudi Arabia has to be verified by halal. So if you are living in Saudi Arabia, as I am living today, maybe we don't see the importance as we used to see in other parts of the world. And I remember my student days in Japan, where we would study all night and then in the morning go to take a breakfast. And in the supermarket, we would struggle to understand the kanjis just to make sure that what we are eating is halal. But there would not be a certification, or there would not be something that would make it easy for us. Similarly, in many other parts of Europe, or Malaysia, or Australia, or United States, this has a very different meaning. In the post-COVID-19 era, halal economy can serve as an alternative source of employment generation that will provide youth and women a chance to pursue various economic activities. I was a convener, together with one of our speakers today, Mr. Amel Kovacic, of the halal fairs in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The Sarajevo Halal Fair contributed to opening doors of opportunities to the economy of Bosnia by bringing investors and traders from different parts of the world to do business in Eastern Europe. The halal industry provides an opportunity to connect countries, to strengthen trade and cultural ties between nations. The global Muslim population will reach 2.2 billion by the year of 2030, which will be accounting for about 30% of the global population. This is a huge market, that can support the economies of the ISDB member countries. And it is expected, as it was mentioned in the speech before us by His Excellency the Vice President, Dr. Mansour Mukhtar, that by the year of 2024, that the halal industry will be an industry worth of $3.2 trillion. At the Islamic Development Bank, we plan to upscale the contribution of halal industry, and we want to expand this event at a larger scale at our possibly next annual meeting, which will be in Jeddah. Now today, among us, we have leaders of halal from Malaysia, Mr. Hani Sufyan Alias. We have leaders of halal from Indonesia, also our speaker. We have leader of halal from Senegal, who is also with us today. And we have from Europe, we have Brother Abida, also, who is very active in the area. So we really have to design a way how to support each other and how to support organizing exhibitions that will be coordinated between us. And IDB is studying at the moment this initiative. Maybe we could take a more active role in supporting it, but we need also your support. We need the industry leaders from the ground. And the idea of having this session today was actually to initiate this potential. We were first time, as brilliantly mentioned by Dr. Jamil in his opening speech, it is the first time that we are having a side event on halal, where we want to design a strategy on how we move beyond, inshallah, in a coordinated way to organize exhibitions throughout our member countries, tapping in this great potential that we have. Halal industry would contribute in achieving some of the targets of 2030 Agenda for Development, especially those related to SDG 1, which is poverty alleviation, SDG 2, ending hunger, SDG 3, healthcare, SDG 4, education, and SDG 11, climate change. The halal industry is an inclusive market that embraces all communities and cultures. Some of the biggest players in halal economy, you'll be surprised, are Brazil, New Zealand, Australia, China, and even European countries such as United Kingdom are entering on the big scale into this area. But not only in European Union, there's an estimate of 51 million of Muslims living in Europe today. 51 million. So the market of halal in Europe is 3 times the size of the market of halal in Malaysia, for example. So we have enormous potential, which is being recognized by European countries, and we should also be very much aware of it. This brings me to a question of diversity in developing the halal industry. Countries like South Africa are also making headway in this regard. The halal economy in South Africa is worth over 45 billion as of 2017, and the government is providing support with USD $67 million for the halal industrial food processing park. In Nigeria, we see new players such as Darul Halal and Halal Certification Authority beginning to change perception and working to attract investments into the halal economy. The growth of Islamic finance is helping the rise of halal economy with the banks such as Jaiz Bank, Taj Bank, and Al Baraka Microfinance Bank. becoming major players within the mainstream of Nigerian economy. China is another country where halal market is growing. Halal food market alone is worth $21 billion. In Australia, more than 2.36 billion worth of meat was exported from Australia in 2021 alone. The potential is huge. And this potential, even where it does not look like a potential, actually can be converted into a huge potential in a very short period of time. I can tell you this, being myself a CEO of an Islamic bank in Eastern Europe, where we did not know much about Islamic banking. We had a huge challenge in understanding. When we started, we had a challenge of the population understanding what is Islamic banking. We had a challenge of regulators understanding what is Islamic banking. We had a challenge of technical staff understanding what is Islamic banking. However, in a very short period of time, we became the fastest growing bank, and we are now one of the strategic banks in the Bosnian market, capturing between 5th and 6th position, and in terms of perception, sharing the 2nd place in the market, which is where oversupply of banking is there. So halal access to finance is actually something which is really working very fast, and it is opening new doors of avenues of potential market. We had a very huge growth even among the Serbian and Croatian population which are not Muslim. We were at certain parts of Bosnia even the fastest growing bank to this population. Wanting to say that we have a huge potential even in the markets that may not look very potential from this perspective. At the Islamic Development Bank, we will work towards helping in creating the halal ecosystem for economic development. We will be continuously trying to bring players together, as we are doing today, to share knowledge and experience in this industry. We will also contribute in creating awareness so that the economic opportunities offered by the halal economy can be harnessed. In Islamic Development Bank, our regional center of excellence in Kuala Lumpur is actually focusing on 3 things. Among these 3 things, halal. Our regional office, I did not say, in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, which is, the director is with us here, Mr. Mohammed Abida, who will be replacing me in the remaining part of this event. Halal, Islamic banking, and science and technology. So this is our hub for halal in Islamic Development Bank, is with our regional center in Kuala Lumpur. Please, let's get together, let's hold hands together, and let's bring up this industry to a higher level, which would support the economies of our member countries, which will support our population in a very challenging and different era and time in which we are entering now. Era of very high inflation, era of various diseases, so clean food, halal certified, is something that would be of great importance for the development of our member countries. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I really wish you having a very fruitful session that would contribute to our further step, which we announced, which we will try to organize a series of exhibitions throughout our member countries and within the Muslim communities of non-member countries, of joining hands together and creating the halal exhibitions and bringing up the industries that are in this field. Thank you. so much.
Thank you so much, Brother Amir Bukovic, and I would like to seize the opportunity to invite Brother Adida to take the seat of Brother Amir Bukovic so that we continue the discussion. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your patience. Now we want to go straight into the discussion for just those who are just coming in. Yes, this is the Reviving the Halal Industry side event on the sidelines of the Private Sector Forum here, and we have a distinguished panel that are, I'm sure, eager to vomit the beautiful ideas that are, I'm sure, itching in their mind. So let me start with Dr. Abimanyu. Because of the size of Indonesia, you are managing a Hajj fund, and the Hajj fund, I have been in a number of fora where, the economy of those countries is supported in one way or the other by the Hajj fund. I'm going to give each speaker 2 minutes before we go into the more, collaborative discussion. Tell us about the Indonesia Hajj fund. How does it fit within the halal economy, and how is it providing support to the Indonesian people? Thank you. Please, can we have... listen, if there is problem, you can take my seat here. Okay.
Thank you, Brother Jamil.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Next. Okay. First, let me thank ISDP to invite me to this prestigious panel, and I'm looking forward to learn from each other, the panelists, and how to move forward to improve the quality of our service as far as the global products is concerned. Let me talk to 2 points to make. One, Indonesia has embarked ambitious halal ecosystem.
Okay.
One, before 2014, halal is a volunteer, and after 2014 is mandatory. So, in the heart of mind of the people, the expectation is becoming so high. So every single products, every circulated and traded products in territory of Indonesia shall be a halal certified. So, for example, this Nestle, there's no logo halal certificate. People will ask whether this is halal or not, because it's becoming mandatory. So this is very ambitious expectation that the government and the lawmakers at that time produced this law, and then every single product circulated has to be halal certified. So that's becoming, and the positive way, becoming creating an opportunity for halal ecosystem to move forward. But at the same time, it's difficult to manage the expectation of people. Because if you go to restaurant, you eat, you ask, where's the logo or certified logo? Oh no, I don't want to drink this, I don't want to eat this. If you go elsewhere, you go to UK, you get to London, you don't find the logo, I don't want. This is the expectation that they build. So the attitude of the country is very high in this halal ecosystem to be built. So that's number one issue that I try to draw up, and then maybe some countries have different experience, different countries have different experience, but Indonesia is has a huge potential, one of the largest Muslim population in the world, but at the same time, people are demanding that every single product, according to the law, has to be halal certified. So you put pressures on the Majlis Ulama has produced halal fatwa, you put pressure on the government as to test the ingredients of this food or fashions or others. So that number of issue that the country is in positive ways that look, halal is becoming way of life of the Muslims. Even non-Muslims now are practicing all the consumes the halal product. This is a positive side, but at the same time, we are now have to catch up the expectation of the people. That's number one. Number two, with regards to the previous speakers that has been said by VP Mosum and Sheikh Hani Sofyan, with regards to the IDP role, I'm looking at this way. The halal product is a global chain, supply chain. There has to be some global coordinations. If you look at one product, you are difficult to pinpoint where the material is coming from. So there has to be some way to have some country coordinations. Where is this coming from? Can IDP play in this role? To make sure that there is some global coordination and country to country. For example, if you want to check some US imported food products to Indonesia, right? And then you register for halal certificate. Then the authority has to fly to US to check the ingredients of this. So it will cost you a lot to do this. Just mention about one product, but if talk about thousands, millions of products, which is originating from different country to country. So that's the kind of issue that I would like to bring up. And then on the Hajj fund, I don't want to talk about it. This is another issue. But my heart is in this halal. But let's just bring up this two issue that it may interest on panelists on this issue. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And I think you have touched on some issues that I'm sure later Brother Abida would like to comment on where IDB comes in, in terms of gluing all the partners. But before, you have given us the Indonesian perspective. Let's cross over to Europe. Albania. How is it playing out, Mr. Emil Kovacevic? Yes, it's working.
Is it working? Yes. Okay. First of all, thank you very much for giving us opportunity to discuss so important topic here in Sharm el-Sheikh. I'm coming from Albania, a country in the Mediterranean part of Europe, which is a beautiful place to visit, and I'm inviting all of you to come there and see a beautiful cultural heritage, historical heritage, as well as natural beauties of Albania, and very welcoming people there. Albania is a small country which is actually just starting to be aware about halal concepts and halal issues, and I'm representing United Bank of Albania, the only Islamic bank which is operating in Albania, and we would like to be a facilitator as well as a business integrator of halal economy in Albania. We have a supply and demand side of this phenomenon, and we have to induce both sides at this point of time. When we are talking about demand side, we need to actually create a public awareness through public education with different stakeholders, including Islamic community, NGOs, different type of corporative and individual participants who are interested to actually induce awareness about halal economy. On the other side, on the supply side, we need to create infrastructure, platform, system, which is going to facilitate halal industry, halal movement, such as creating agency for certification under the Islamic community, to create NGOs which are actually providing a proper information on the topics, and also to boost and encourage government of Albania to understand that halal economy is a window of opportunity for economic development of the country, especially in the Albania is going to be a powerhouse in agriculture and food production as well. It is going to be a powerhouse in tourism. So halal-friendly tourist infrastructure and halal certified food products from Albania supposed to be a good competitive advantage for Albania to actually create additional acceleration of its economic growth. So, as a bank, we are trying to do our job to encourage, to explain, to facilitate, to leverage financially different stakeholders which are ready to be participating in halal economy and halal movement. I would like to say that in this process we need a technical support, and we need also the support from societies, organizations which are already far beyond what we have started to do now, to learn from their experience, to get best practices, to implement technological advancements which are important to be there, including technology, especially in finance and investments, and also to create an application or ecosystem which is going to be creating some kind of digital ecosystem for halal stakeholders in the country, where people will be easily communicating, interacting, and making business with each other as a business entities, as well as individuals who are interested to consume and interact with the halal industrial players.
Excellent. So you mentioned something about digital ecosystem. I think that is a very important point that probably within the round of discussion we need to come back to. But let me cross over to Yvonne Mafai, the founder of My Halal Kitchen. What is My Halal Kitchen? And how is it contributing to the halal ecosystem or awareness about halal in the United States?
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you so much for having me. This is a wonderful topic to discuss because I see so many opportunities, not just globally, but particularly in the United States for halal. In 2008, I started My Halal Kitchen as an online resource for the understanding of halal. I noticed a huge gap in the market in the culinary space, that no one was talking about what halal means. There was a lot of misunderstanding about halal, and as a consumer myself, I felt like the information just wasn't out there, and I wanted to clarify for Americans what halal really means, and to sort of lift the veil off of about our lifestyle and our food and the global halal cuisines that we have. So my mission was really to expose the fact that any kind of global cuisine could be made halal, and that halal food wasn't just food from the Middle East or South Asia, and that we could make halal food from French cuisine, Italian cuisine. So it really sort of served both the non-Muslims who really didn't understand what halal even is, and the Muslim community who might want to cook different cuisines. They're living in the United States, they want to try different things like Mexican food and Italian food, and they really didn't maybe patron restaurants and so on, so they wanted to cook at home. And so from there, I noticed so much opportunity for food products, the promotion of food products in the halal markets that I saw. I started working with food brands that are in the halal space. They're in Chicago. And from there, it just exploded. The people were really hungry. Americans were really hungry for something different. When I started to talk about halal, I would see more non-Muslims than Muslims actually attending some events, because they were really interested in the fact that halal has a transparency to it. There are ethics and values behind it, the hygiene aspects. And so that really turned me on to advocate more and more. And what I noticed in working with food brands and companies, that some of the most successful ones are the ones that take some really interesting global cuisine and mainstream it. You know, really make it palatable for the American consumer, which is convenient food, frozen foods, packaged foods. And Americans really do have an appetite for Middle Eastern food right now, which is really interesting. And another thing is that 1/3 of Americans are going plant-based now. So there's a lot of opportunity to pull from Muslim countries and great cuisines that we have in the Muslim world and create products that can be exported to the United States that showcase, for example, Egyptian food. I've had some great falafels, for example. You know, I think there's so much opportunity to show something new. Americans always want something new. We still have that landscape of innovation and the entrepreneurship. There's a lot of opportunity to create new things and be very welcomed in the United States. As much as people might think that Americans don't like, foreign food, but no, that's not the case at all. I think that there's a huge appetite, especially in big metropolis cities like Los Angeles, Miami, San Francisco. There are hubs of innovation, and people really just want to try something new all the time. So for myself as an entrepreneur, I'd like to always encourage young people to create new things, chefs, restaurateurs, anyone in the food space, and to sort of connect Muslims in countries that have the opportunity to create food products but want to bring them to the US. We need to really make that connection so that that business is possible.
Excellent. And in our panel, we have somebody who has actually been a partner and in the journey of making the connections, because was operating in Spain and then now comes to the UAE. Thomas Guerrero, you've heard from Yvonne. It seems there is an abundant opportunity for marketing the halal industry as a product, and you are heading the Halal Marketing Center. So how does it play out, especially these connections from one culture to another, one country to another? How is it playing out from your perspective?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Yamil, for your introduction as well as for your wonderful moderating efforts.
Yes.
My name is Thomas Guerrero. I'm the manager of the Halal Trade and Marketing Center. We are representing this global value proposition for facilitating halal trade worldwide. Well, I know we don't have too much time, so I will try to be short, sweet, sharp. As trade facilitators, we are obviously sharing business opportunities with organizations across the world trying to expand their business operations in the 57 majority countries where we have a certification, as you already know, is mandatory or compulsory for marketing different types of consumer goods such as food, pharma, or cosmetics products. But we are not only facing incentives, opportunities, possibilities, we are also facing many challenges. I would like also to use this platform to highlight some of them. Obviously, we need a clear regulation. First of all, it doesn't make sense to have different rules for regulating the same market. We have to harmonize, we need to have a global halal standard in place. Then we also need to adapt new technologies. We are 1 century behind of the world. We need to adapt blockchain, we need to use machine learning, artificial intelligence, those disruptive technologies to ensure and enhance traceability, transparency, integrity, or accountability also in the halal space. Then we also have to try to make a big effort to connect the halal industry, the producers, with the Islamic banking and finance system. We have a funny paradox. The largest producers of halal products, they are mostly based in non-Muslim majority countries. They are producing halal goods according to the different halal standards. But for that, they are using conventional or Western banking and finance. So why not to make an effort to connect those worlds and try to make this industry even bigger. And then I think we also have the opportunity with the emerging Muslim world. There are many countries in Africa and Central Asia. We need to use this market to empower those countries, to allow them to have a clear driver to create wealth, to create employment. And sometimes, and that's another paradox, a contradicting one, for non-Muslim majority countries, it's more easy to produce and export halal goods to Muslim majority countries rather than other Muslim countries trying to do the same. But because of the regulation, they can't, and they are facing many barriers, many problems. So let's try to solve all these issues, because we are obviously here for facilitating trade. We are sharing the opportunities. We are supporting organizations to grow in the halal space. But we are facing many problems, and we have always 3, 4, 5 points that we need to take them and move forward. So let's try to do it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And now this brings me to Mr. Hani Sufyan before I come to Mr. Abida. In your keynote speech, you focused mainly on the ecosystem, especially the study you are conducting. So you have now the different challenges, the Albanian perspective, the American perspective, the Euro-Arabian perspective, and the Indonesian perspective. How do we create this ecosystem and make it successful?
So obviously you see that to have ecosystems, you need different views, because the 1.9 billion of Muslims that we're talking about come from different places of the world.
Yes.
So obviously they have different experience. So the ecosystems needs to be nurtured. And the best way to nurture the ecosystems is through best practices from all over the place, from all over the segments, through partnerships. And I think this is why we are here. So we need to nurture the ecosystems. And what we are doing with ISDB, I think we have a very high hope with ISDB to champion this one, because ISDB is in the positions to help us nurture these ecosystems. And one of the best ways is to also look at how one day we can actually measure the ecosystems. Because the saying says, if you cannot measure some things, you will not be able to manage it.
Correct.
So I think that goes with the saying that we need to have someone to nurture it, and one day we should be able to measure where we are in terms of the ecosystem maturity and so on.
Excellent. Mr. Hani Sufyan, you have been working closely with Mr. Abida, and Mr. Abida is the head of the Center of Excellence on Halal, Science and Technology, and Islamic Finance, established to be dedicated to these sectors by the Islamic Development Bank. And you are, very passionate about this center. What opportunities have you seen that you think we need to tap into so that all the players can come together to push it forward?
Thank you, my dear brother and friend Jamil. I think as it was shared, and I think there is a consensus that the halal has a huge potential in terms of development, contributing to the economic development, creating jobs, promoting intra-trade between our countries. So there is, for development institutions like the bank, a huge potential to leverage on this potential to help our member countries. But we should not deny that there are huge challenges facing halal promotion, and we are not using this full potential. The biggest exporters of halal products in the world are not member countries of ISDB, because there are a lot of challenges facing our member countries, internal and external, including some of the challenges were mentioned about the harmonization of standards, the lack of awareness, lack of talents, capacity, lack of vision, lack of planning, policies, incentives for the industry. There are many. So when we started our Center of Excellence in Kuala Lumpur 2 years ago, we asked ourselves how to address all these challenges and how to benefit from the halal industry to support our member countries. So we said, let's start first by undertaking a study to take stock of the current situation in more than 22 countries, member and non-member of ISDB, to assess the strengths, the weaknesses, the gaps, and the opportunities. What worked well, what didn't work well. And to identify different models, because we think that there is the best model or the best experience. It should be contextualized and it should be localized according to the culture, the history, the structure of the economy, the current capabilities of each country, the sectors that are important for the countries, and the laws and regulations. So we are intending to build on this study to accompany some selected countries who are interested, to accompany them to have an ecosystem, and the word was repeated many times, because we believe that halal promotion should not be an opportunistic just to buy a certificate and comply and target a specific market just to have a business opportunity. That it is a short-sighted vision which is not sustainable and will not contribute for long-term contribution to the economy. There is a need of clear vision, a comprehensive ecosystem, a holistic approach which should include minimum components of governance, of capacity, of industry development, of innovation, technology adoption, of course, integrity, compliance, conformity, etc. And also, we should focus on associating the halal, moving from the perception of just complying to the Sharia, the usual perception that associated to halal just for the slaughtering and the minimum compliance, to a broader vision of halal, which is related to the safety, to the consumption in a sustainable way. So I think there are a lot of work, but the most important word, which was repeated by many speakers, is the cooperation. No institution can promote this industry alone. I really recognize and appreciate the efforts of, for example, the OIC SMIC, which is the standardization body of the OIC, Mr. Hassan, His Excellency. They are doing great effort to reduce the obstacles of this cross-certification and the harmonization of standards, which is very important. But I should also recognize the efforts of countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, and Turkey, and UAE, and Saudi Arabia. These are the leaders of some countries who had the journey to establish a national effort. Now it is time, and we are lucky to have an advancement of technology now, especially after COVID, to facilitate the trade, to trace the products, to verify the conformity. So we have a chance now to move faster, to benefit from the full potential of this industry, for SMEs to create the jobs that were lost by COVID-19. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And you have touched on the next aspect that I'm going to talk about in the next round. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, for just who are just coming in, this is the Rejuvenating Halal Industry side event, creating economic opportunities. And we thank you very much for your patience. And please, can we give a warm applause to our panelists for the excellent contribution they give. And we will shortly, after one round, we'll come back to a Q&A. But let's now talk about this issue of technology, digitalization. Why is this important? Because the Muslim world has a youthful population. Technology is part and parcel of their lives. So if we come and sit here without speaking in a language that they understand, how will the halal industry prosper? So how can we incorporate technology, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and all its components into the halal industry? Let me go from the beginning, starting, from Thomas, and then we come forward to Mr. Abida. Yes.
Thank you so much for your question. Well, we are talking about, in many cases, Muslim millennials, no? They are digital natives, so they are aware of new technologies. The thing is, the halal industry is very old one, and sometimes the profiles behind the, let's say, the organizations regulating, for example, this market, they are not in line with the new generations, and they are coming with different backgrounds, with the academic one, with the religious one, with the social one, but they are not close to the new technologies. And maybe because of that, we don't have in place, for example, blockchain for traceability. That's a great solution. When we talk about halal certification, we are talking mostly about traceability. Why not? to use the blockchain for that. You know? I think when you talk to the, for example, to the auditors, to the certifiers, to the bodies in the regulation space, sometimes they don't want to go through those technologies. Why? Because those technologies will be coming with traceability, but plus transparency, integrity, and sometimes for them it's not a good deal for their current business. So they have there some contradictions, but I'm sure we will be going through them. It's not possible to continue like we are working today.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I understand that we are running out of time, so we're going to go quickly, please, in about 30 seconds each. Dr. Abimanyu, please.
Yeah, earlier today I'm talking about the gap between the demand, the expected demand. Demand expectations show huge, but the supply has not been filling the gap. So I think the answer is technology. When technology can fill in the gap, those who are demand is very high, the expectation is very high because of the mandated by the law, mandated by the country was so eager and so ambitious on this target to achieving some halal ecosystem, but may not be supported by the availability of new products, new innovations, etc. But I think the idea of providing technology closer the gap. So hopefully by the time that the country is mature, the country is in moving motion, then the gap will be closed, and then hopefully the country can produce their own import substitution kind of halal products that can also be chained in the world trade halal products.
Thank you very much. Yvonne,
Yes.
your company is more of a media company, so how does technology come in?
Yeah, when I think of technology, immediately my mind goes to social media because when you talk about transparency and traceability, really, I'm looking at the consumer point of view, right? They want to know where products are coming from today. They want to know the stories behind the food brands, who's running the companies, what are the ethics behind the brands, how are the animals raised? And I think that's a huge opportunity for halal businesses to tell their stories, especially small businesses. They can really give an entire picture, a holistic image of all of the wonderful things that go on to create the products that they're putting out there. And the young generation is not just wanting that, but they're sort of going to demand it in the future.
Thank you so much. Amel?
Well, I will just say that even if we use technology for process of tracing the process of production of different services and products is not good enough. We need to have a customer experience and convenience for our clients to be able to consume and to buy these products. So let's say, speaking from perspective of Islamic Bank, we need to have a digital solutions which are providing our products and services to our customers in such a way that they are superior and that they are up to the level which is available in the market for non-halal products. So this is the major challenge for us, to be actually competitive and attractive enough to new generations who are very highly demanding because they have experiences and they know what is going on in the markets. So they need to have superior customer experience with the products, and of course to have as much as possible widening the range of different alternatives and opportunities for them to be, let's say, in financial sector, to be investors. Let's say what I'm doing what we are doing in the United Bank of Albania is that we are trying to widen the possibilities of investments for our clients in Albania. Let's say for halal investments in many countries, we do not have much opportunities. So if there is Islamic Bank, you can put your money as a deposit in Islamic Bank, and more or less that's the case. So what we are trying now is to say, okay, let's open Islamic investment funds. Let us give them opportunity to be able to invest in digitally, to invest in different commodities such as gold and some other Sharia compliant products. So if we provide this range of products and services to our population, if we put it in such a way that it is superior in experience and it is convenient and efficient, and if it is in the one place, then we can hope for creating ecosystem which is going to actually be perpetuum mobile, for that everybody is going to contribute to it in such a way, and that it is going to grow within society. And financial institutions such as a bank, in that case, can facilitate, create a business integration, and to hope for some kind of business and profitability as well there.
Excellent. Malaysia is quite advanced in technology, so.
Okay, we have a roadmap for halal science, technology, innovations for economic development. So the keyword is innovations, because what is innovations? Innovations are defined as new things that creates value, and value means achieving more with less. So the three segments that we have under this roadmaps is on traceability, IoT, and also product premiumizations. So under IoT, we are exploring the use of sensors, detection kits to facilitate the processes. Of course, traceability, we heard from all the speakers. There are also, in terms of traceability, blockchain and so on. Product premiumizations, because we need to develop more halal compliance products. We are, for example, gelatins. We need to have high quality gelatins for pharmaceutical products that we need to export to the rest of the world. So these are the plans that we have for the moment.
Excellent. Brother Abida, your center is both science, technology, and halal.
Yeah, that's the advantage of focusing on three areas which are interrelated.
Yes.
We are focusing on STI, we are focusing in Islamic finance and halal industry. And when it comes to promoting any sector, we found a relationship, and when we studied some good experiences and success stories in the private sector for fintech, for example, we found a lot of fintech companies are focusing on halal, but also trying to bring investment to startups through crowdfunding and through Islamic social finance for halal industry. So this link, we are seeing it spontaneously, naturally among the new innovators, and there are a lot of interest. And I'm very optimistic that there is a new generation who are integrating technologies and focusing on interlinking all the sectors of Islamic economy, I say, together. So I'm sure there is a great future for this industry if, of course, the ingredients are there, and if we help and support the future innovators to invest and to be engaged in this industry, because these are the drivers, and the government policies and the standardization institutions will follow accordingly.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It will be very unfair for me to round up the session without giving a chance to the audiences. But please, I want to crave your indulgence because the next event is already here and the speakers are already here. So please, I want to give a chance of 1 or 2 quick questions and comments. Okay, so 1, 2, okay, 3. Please, but quickly. Quickly, please. Your name and just ask the question and then we will round up. Yes, thank you.
My name is Hassan Usman from Bank, Nigeria, first Islamic bank in Nigeria. And my question is, how can the Islamic world gift basic commodities or basic ingredients to especially the pharmaceutical industry in the world, so that both Muslims and even non-Muslims will have that gift? Because we know that those additives that are not halal, that are in pharmaceutical products, are not good for humanity as a whole. What is it that we can do under the auspices of the IDB, for example, or the Islamic cooperation countries, especially since, for example, in Saudi Arabia, IDB has the mandate to do the slaughtering of the Qurbani, and therefrom some of these ingredients can be aggregated and be distributed across the world. I think this is something that maybe this group can make some contributions.
Thank you very much. Please, quickly. Yes.
Hi, my name is Lamin Bakir from Senegal, President of African Institute of Islamic Finance.
Okay.
I just wanted to touch upon the halal industry in Senegal, West Africa, quickly, which has a huge demand. But the main challenges we're facing is training and expertise. And the risk we're facing right now with the huge drive is some are implementing mediocre solutions. So I salute the COE's role to use it like more mature, more advanced halal economy countries like Malaysia to other regions. So my question would be, Mr. Pida, what is your strategy to implement that faster? Because if I take the case of Senegal, of 95% Muslim country, the demand is very high, but it's very lacking.
Yes, question well understood. Thank you very much. Finally, the last one. Yes, please. Over there. And then, yes. Apologies, Prashant, and we will round up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shalan Shakir, Authority of Agriculture and Development. My question is about the certificate, halal certificate. We know, like, this has to be started from the beginning of the raising of the animal, feeding, for the second half. Is all of these processes have been taken into consideration on that?
Yes. Thank you very much. I will be the finalist, 30 seconds each to respond if you feel there is need. If there is no need, you can pass it to your colleague. Starting from Thomas, please. Microphone. Microphone, please. Excuse me.
Okay. Yes, I think if I understood a question about the non-Muslim world and promoting halal, I really believe strongly that we have to raise that standard of halal, focus on halal and tayyib, and we need to really sort of really look at how we're branding and promoting halal across the globe, and go beyond just Muslim countries. If we pull from, for example, Mediterranean cuisine, Middle Eastern food, healthy food, halal can really be equivalent to health food around the world, and that can really change the game for us, because the rest of the world needs healthy food. There's a desire for health and wellness, particularly post-pandemic. So I think in this halal industry, we have a huge opportunity to look at the deeper meaning of halal and keeping the standard always very high in everything that we do. And I think one of the ways IDB can really be a driver of that is, as Brother Muhammad said, supporting innovation and entrepreneurship. And when we do that, we can make the connection between the entrepreneurs and the exportation of their wonderful products around the globe, and halal can be the equivalent to what is healthy.
Excellent, thank you. Amel?
I would like to add something to what my dear sister said. Living in a society which is multicultural and which is not necessarily understanding what is Islam, what does it mean, halal, and so on. And we are living in a world where people are very much conscious about their health, about sustainability, about environmental protection, about any kind of injustice which is happening, such as child labor or stuff like that. So we have to be explaining what halal means to these people in a way they understand it properly. So through the terms which are acceptable globally, United Nations certified terms, so that we can actually be trying to explaining to them that what we are doing is not different what they would like, to be more healthy, to protect the environment, to protect the society from any kind of harmness, to benefit through different products and services, well-being of our society, and to deliver this world to the next generation better than what we inherited from our fathers. So this is actually a very simple concept, and halal is there, but we actually do not speak in such a way, so people do have a prejudice, because we talk very technically how and what certification means and stuff like that, and you know, it creates confusion to many. So we have to make it very simple, so that everybody understand in his own context what it means for us, so that we can be actually uniting the forces together and to understand that this, what we are trying to do, is not more than what they want for themselves as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. Hani Sufyan.
My answer will be STI again, Science, Technology, Innovations. So I gave example in terms of the questions about the pharmaceutical ingredients. This is a very technical areas. So you need to do research, scientific explanations from the Sharia knowledge person and also scientific competent persons. So science is very important so that we can define what is proper in terms of halal and non-halal. When it comes to, for example, certifications, the trust issues, things like that. This is where traceability, technology, adoptions of traceability to make it transparent so that people have a lot of trust on certain logos or certain certification system that we use, backed by a transparent system that we use. And eventually, in any things that we do, we need to innovate continuously, finding ways of how do we create values so that whatever products or services that we are offering are always of high quality. In terms of speed, we can always deliver fast, and of course, in terms of cost, must be effective. So I think that can encapsulate all the information that we have for the morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abida. Can you round up for us, please?
Thank you very much, and I really thank the audience and all the participants for their interest. I know that 1 hour is not enough to discuss all the issues related to halal. On behalf of the bank and the Center of Excellence, we assure you that it is the first in the annual meeting, but it will not be the last. It is just the start of a series of thematic and geographic, maybe country discussions about the halal, how to promote. We really thank all esteemed panelists for joining us, and we will build on their remarks and recommendations to enhance our approach for promoting halal industry. We'll continue engaging with all the experts. Please, we encourage you to join us in the discussions and recommendations to promote the halal industry, how to benefit our member countries, and how to address the different challenges. I thank you, Brother Jamil. My thanks to His Excellency the VP for his inspiring remarks, and Brother Amr from the Global Practice and all his team. My thanks also to the interpreters and the media and the organizers. I hope that we build gradually a network of experts in this area, which all have the same objective, is to promote the halal industry for the benefits of our health, our consumption, our economy, and ultimately our well-being. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I say, please, can we give a final round of Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much to all our panelists, and we are now moving on immediately to a presentation session showcasing the PPP project pipeline for Egypt, Bangladesh, Jordan, Indonesia, and Pakistan. I would like to invite all the 5 speakers to come up here on stage, and they are Mr. Attar Izzat Muhammad Hanmoura, Director of PPP Central Unit, Ministry of Finance, Egypt, and Mr. Abul Bashar, Director General of the PPP Authority, Prime Minister's Office, Bangladesh. Ms. Leila Tashamni, Head of Projects, PPP Unit, Ministry of Investment, Jordan.